Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. As you can tell, we are not in the park anymore. It's a little rainy outside. Like I said, I don't mind the cold, I like the difference. Just like the seasonality of things when it changes. But it's too cold, or not too cold, but potential for rain, I'm not going to take out some equipment. But you know what we're doing, we're looking for our definition of sensorality. Why do we censor things? Why is there a difference between censorship with a C and with an S? And how can we prove that linguistically? We just have to line up some syllables, language is consistent, languages emerge from sounds which are consistent, and we are calculating a physical property based off of words, because words are a physical system. And so, you know what we do, point out empirical evidence, provide some analysis, and progress our logic. Right? So what is rhythm? Right? Rhythm maximizes efficiency. We talked about how efficiency is just an overall gauge of how something is working. If it's 0% efficient, it's not working. If it's 100% efficient, it's optimal. But rhythm synchronizes. Right? So rhythm syncs. Right? We have all of this different ontology and verbiage of synchronicity, synchronize, synergy. Right? That's the big one. Right? Information is energy. Information is synergetic. And so clearly, again, synergy is based on energy. So how does loop quantum gravity or particle physics or general relativity, even acknowledge that? Of course it doesn't. And so we're working into that part of the ontology now. And again, remember, language is independent of me, it is independent of you. Clearly we use it, but the ontology is as a species as a whole. And this, because of language as a physical system trying to reach maximum efficiency, it's forcing these different pairings, vitamins and minerals. That was the example we used last time, but all of these different cliches or pairings, they're all forcing functions of life itself, trying to figure out efficient procedures. And so rhythm synchronizes. Synchronize, then I connected that to chronology. I'm kind of stuttering a little bit because I know where this is going. But motion that happens in time is synchronized. Soarized, synchronized. Just some context for using the word set as a fixed statement. Last time we said, ready, set, go, right? You're all set. You're leaving for the hotel room, you're checking out, and the cashier or the concierge says, hey man, you're all set. What did he say? You're good to go, everything's finalized. Everything is literally set. You also say, you make a big trade on your stocks, like I did it today. I shorted Micron at $204, and it goes up to $205, and then it crashes to $196. Makes Brad a little sad. But that's literally the only option I potentially have to make money. I would much rather just do these videos, do education, be a full-time academic, which I am, but my research is classified, or the engineering applications of my research are classified, so academia as a whole will not acknowledge me publicly. You random YouTuber watching this video saying, who is this guy? The only potential I ever have of having a career and family is if people speak up and say the right thing, which at this point I have no expectation for whatsoever. But if you say he's set for life, right, after your big stock, your big business exit, you're in Spanish, ejito, like exiting a business as opposed to salida, right? You're exiting, right? So you're set for life. Your income might be variable literally, but you don't have to worry about money again. You're fixed, it's done. And then if something bad happens to you, oh, that's just a setback. And what are you really saying there? Well, that's happened for sure, but it's a setback. It's not going to happen again, or it's at least not variable. That occurrence in the past is set. And so I'm just pointing out more context in which these words are used. Where we were going, what is the relationship of chronology and synchronicity? Right? Things happen in time, like sequentially, one after the other, that's chronology. If things happen concurrently at the same time, that's timing, that's synchronized. So synchronicity is movement at the same time. Chronology is movement one after the other. But timing, therefore, is not chronological. Right? Timing is concurrent. Right? Why do we say? Then we get to the phrase, timing is everything. Right? Because timing regulates synchronicity. If you're moving in time with something, if you're walking down the hallway and you're doing that awkward bob and weave, it's because rhythm is synchronizing your motion, literally. And so that is, timing is everything because timing is not chronological. And rhythm synchronizes, and so if you're moving in time, it's because of that synchronization from rhythm. But we can connect timing to signing. Again, just connecting explicitly some of our functional definitions of sensorality. And we clearly see, the difference between timing and signing is the S and T. T comes directly after S alphabetically, right? Alphabetically is chronological. So T comes directly after S, and then there's some sort of geometric identity that I do intuitively where N squared effectively, again, not like standard mathematics, but N squared is M. And geometrically, that's not hard to convince anybody of. But what is synergeticality? What is synergy? Synergy is complementary. If we work well together, we're synergetic. Right? So energy, the capacity to do work. Synergy, the capacity to do work together. So that's how synergy is compared to energy. Sensorality is synergetic. Right? Life is more efficient if we work together, literally. So again, remember, if anything that I say linguistically about words strikes you as like, what did he just say? It's the most literal things ever. I'm just, connecting these literal linguistic elements, letters, to sounds while keeping the logic consistent. But you can't break language. Like I said, there's no way for me to break language. There's no way for you to break language. So the fact that I can make these steps at all, again, I'm not trying to begin, obviously, if you know this proofing method is legitimate if you're watching at this point. But I demonstrated this. It was so cool to demonstrate this for the first time. It's like winning the World Series when nobody even knows what the World Series is, but there's nobody there to cheer for you or even like respect you or treat you with any sort of dignity and respect. It's disgusting. It's really, honestly, this is the worst experience of my life. My whole life has been literal torture. But sensorality is synergetic, synergized, synchronized, right? I don't know really what is there, but energized being the base. Chronology, I think for synchronized chronology is still the base there, and we'll get to why I say that might not be here in a second. But synergize, right? Things, if they synchronize, they're in this. They have the same timing. If they synergize, right? You can synchronize without being synergetic, right? If something happens at the exact same time that's bad for you, it's still synchronized to your timing, but it's not a good thing, right? So synergy has the connotation of working well together. So sensorality is synergetic. A routine is a rhythm, right? Just using another, again, that's what I'm saying, changing the linguistics, right? Or what is a routine? It's a set pattern. Okay, yep, you just defined a rhythm. So a routine is a rhythm, vibration, energy. Again, we went through the physical components at length, just keeping some of these ideas fresh in your mind. But synergy reverberates. If someone says, that resonates with me, it reverberates. It physically echoes. It physically makes sense. You're referencing synchronicity. Literally the frequency of what you're thinking makes sense to somebody else. So sensorality consonnates. Synergy reverberates. Synergy resonates. Sensorality consonnates. And so again, that's me making an intuitive jump to say that we're iterating the consonants, not the vowels. But it could change. It could be some sort of dynamic. And again, all of these identities are true with or without me. I'm just trying to ask the right questions to get to this axiomatizing theorem for sensorality. What is an origin to the basis? And again, I use the because now we've proven the limit that basis is as is. It is set. It is 2 numerically. Physically, it's vibration and rhythm. Because even like when we break down the dynamic and say, mass condensed from energy from R2 to R3, you might say, rhythm, like I said, rhythm isn't there. But that, like I said, that was the one way, when we went through the one-way progression, right? That's the chronological, that's what they would call the universal progression or the time-dependent evolution of the physical universe in physics class right now today. And so now all of these concepts still apply, which are what I've called local systems, just meaning in dimensionality 3, effectively, they're still time-dependent, but in the way they've said it in physics class, this would be time-independent. But it's still time-dependent. Everything is time-dependent. So that doesn't make any sense, but the one-way progression of the universal phase changes is as structured in physics class right now today is the time-dependent evolution of the universe. But saying time-dependent versus time-independent, that doesn't make any sense. Like anything in physical ontology, man. But a routine is a rhythm, sensorality consonnates. If that's meaningful, we'll get back to it. What is an origin to a basis? Just what do you think, right? Again, these are all like questions you can legitimately answer because any operative word you say When I'm talking about this forcing function of the whole species, I can use those words. Like it doesn't matter. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you just have to be close enough. And if you can articulate the logic, I can damn sure hear it. Even if you just think it sometimes. But an origin is where you originate. It is your basis, right? So the basis is rhythm and vibration, our physical characteristics of dimensionality 3. I guess effectively our range and base. Certainly our base, probably our range. Origin is very logically close to base or basis. So where you originate. But what's the difference in those words? Origination is to beginning. I don't know how, again, is basis and range time independent. Nothing, that doesn't make any sense. Forget that, ban me from YouTube. But what is the relationship of origin and basis? But sensorality originates speciality, right? You can't be special if you don't exist. Sensorality is chronicality. And so this is what I was kind of, because I do this derivation before and then I try to present it to you if I do it as if I was doing it in real time. But then there'd be breaks and pauses, but that would be live streaming. I mean, people just sit there and play video games or talk or whatever. This is fundamental mathematical derivation. But like I said, I've given up on my life. My life will never be anything. But chronicality, right? Sensorality is chronic. And so when I said earlier, synchronicity, right? Chronicity, the base is chronic, right? And so the pronunciation's different, but that's another one of those base pairs that just, or dichotomistic pairs where the base and the range you don't see it. It's like, it's right there, but the pronunciation's so different that you don't see it. And so, right, chronic, synchronized, that's why I say the base is not chronology, it's chronicity. But chronicity, the base is chronic, which is what we use, right? What's the opposite of chronic? Acute, right? If you have an acute condition and you go into the doctor, it's transient, it's been brief. If something's been happening for a long time, it's chronic. If something has been happening forever, it's sensoric, right? It's sensorality. And so that was really interesting. Chronicality versus, right, chronicity is based on chronic, and then we expand that out to chronicality. Because again, very clearly this ality is how you generalize any word. So then these other derivative forms, isity, illity, ity. But see, that's another one, right? Because when I derived speciality, I was like, speciality, that's special with an ity at the end, because the al is already contained in that word. So that's what we're doing with sensorality, is sensorial, connecting that sorality to something else, soralitility or soralit. Again, we're not there yet, but and this is the 360 between the legs dunk on people type of shit. Like establishing the existence and form of solutions gets you Nobel or Fields medals and PhDs and tenured tracks. And I've iterated all of this logic already before. It's profoundly disrespectful. But that's how we expanded chronicity into chronicality, and that is what sensorality is. Chronic is the opposite of acute. Speciality, remember when I said speciality is obtuse. Sensorality is acute. Right? Obtuse goes to retarded, to slow. It slows things down. It's inefficient. Sensorality is acute. It's transient. It's brief. Momentum is transient. Momentum is acute. Right? You only live for so long. Movement only lasts so long. Everything tends to go to rest, unlike Newton said, because the conservation of energy. It requires energy to do work. And despite what you say in Newtonian mechanics, oh, there's no movement, he didn't do work. Well, you expended your energy. You still tired yourself out. So you did something, right? And then the breaking down physical ontology has always been this accessible to me. Just people who have never had the ability to listen, just to listen to somebody else express what they think about the world at all, let alone the fact that it's fundamentally correct. But sensorality chronicles, right? Chronicity, chronicle, right? My pool table is not going to write a story. Chronic, ironic. Sensorality determines ironicality. Ironic, iconic. Speciality is ironic. Sensorality is iconic. And if you have any sort of logical intuition yourself, you might almost say, Brad, iconic sounds like something that would pair to speciality. But remember, sensorality has to contain the entirety of the definition of speciality. And so, because it all builds, right? It's all related. But then if we take out iconic, right? Iconic, and you just take off the I, you get conic, right? Sensorality is a cone. Cone, lone, leon, right? People say a lien, they put a lien on my house. There's those French words sneaking in again because languages aren't distinct. Lyon, right? So a lien is actually 2 syllables. In the same way, Kyoto and Tokyo are 2 syllables, not 3 syllables. But cone, obviously, is based on 1. Right? Sensorality, sorist, cone. Just 3 pieces, I didn't even make a theorem out of that. Sensorality is a conic section, right? So now we're just pairing this to fundamental mathematical ontology. Sensorality deletes. Right? If you censor something, you're deleting it. Deletion is a selection. Taking that logic, progressing it with another word. Right? Clearly, deletion and selection have that E-L-E-T-I-O-N. They're just different by the D and the S and the C. Right? Sensorality selects what to delete. And see how we go from the dichotomistic pairs to A is B to a whole sentence. Again, please just, I keep asking for constitutional rights, but there's nothing left for me to say. Like, I am being tortured to death and nobody cares. It's just true. But that's what I have for mathematical derivation today, and I will see you on the next one.